Dosunmu has some show stealing to him. I mean, yeah, we're excited to watch Anthony. Excited to see how Finchie uses Gobert, and what his minutes are like compared to what Naz Reid's minutes are like, given it's they generally swap for each other. In a series like this against Joker, who gets Joker off the picks? Because you can craft things offensively, but defensively they can craft things knowing we know that you know that we know that you know because we've played each other so much.
Totally.
So off the picks, I got to believe it's Jaden, handling Joker, hopefully not getting in foul trouble. But Ayo Dosunmu is a major wild card in this series.
Yeah, he certainly is. And I'm glad you brought up the defensive kind of, I guess, diversity, kind of different ways that you can do things on the defense side of the ball. And I think that has to be something that the Wolves continue to look at and continue to change, because Jokic is so good that he's going to figure out how you're guarding him, right? So the moment he figures out how you're guarding him, you have to find ways to switch it up, right? So I think switching can be something that's vital to this Timberwolves defense. I think Jaden can hold Jokic. Now he's going to put him in the post, and you got to find ways to send double teams in different type of situations, but you have to continually switch it up, because the answer isn't just stick Rudy on him and let him be big. That's not going to work. Nothing's going to work in a 7-game series against Jokic. You have to find different ways to throw things at him. And I think one of those different things is Ayo Dosunmu. And Ayo can switch on to bigs, and he can front bigs, and he can double team. And the best part of Ayo's game is his IQ and his ability to have the ball on the open floor, and he seems to always make the right play, whether that's go getting your own at the rim or sending it to somebody for an open three in the corner or setting one of those Gortat screens on somebody to go finish down low. So I think Ayo's got a lot of diversity to his game.
And by the way, Valanciunas. Jonas backs up Joker. And,
he does.
Okay, so Jokic played most of the first half yesterday against San Antonio, a very disinterested Spurs team, nothing for which to play, sat Wemby, but Castle's playing, De'Aaron Fox is playing, Vassell's playing, with Champagny.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but they were just so disinterested and wanted to get out of it alive. and up to the game until about 3 hours before the game, the Nuggets had shared, you got to share an injury report at a certain time before a game.
That's right.
And they said that out. Joker, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon. I mean, like 6 of their best players were going to be out. Well, then Joker played. And he had to play to get his 65th game.
There you go.
To join qualification for the MVP. And the Nuggets went on a 22-0 run in the second quarter yesterday against some good Spurs, too, and Joker had a lot to do with it. So, it's I don't have confirmation of this, obviously, but Saturday there were some stories that popped when, like LeBron was listed questionable and people were speculating he ain't going to play, because if the Nuggets had lost and then the Lakers won, it's going to be Wolves Lakers.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. I would have made, even without home court, the Wolves a minus 240 favorite in that series,
Probably.
like close to 2.5 to 1. I just didn't like the Lakers at all without Doncic and Reeves in a series against this Wolves team. But the Nuggets played last night.
Yeah.
Like a team, or the coach David Adelman was like a coach coaching a team that was offended by some things that popped on Saturday night. And here's what popped. After that Nuggets injury report came out saying these guys are going to be out, and Joker was part of it, the stories started to develop because the Timberwolves have gotten healthy.
Yeah.
It's clear that there are a couple of teams that want to avoid Minnesota in round 1.
Totally.
I just think Adelman and Joker saw that, and they're like, what? No, I mean, it's no, I'm playing.
Yeah. I'm
going to steal the show. Yeah. Adelman's like, really? I mean, no, we don't fear anybody, because they played like a team where, they won like a team that's dead set and ready for the postseason,
And I think they have gotten healthier. And I think one thing that's really important with that is Aaron Gordon. He's a guy that's really been a glue for them. He's a guy that's been able to kind of bring this team together, especially in the defensive side of the ball. He makes all the impact plays. He's an X factor. But the name that I will tell you that definitely gives the Nuggets a little concern is Peyton Watson. He hasn't played since April 1st. That's the last game he's played. He's had a little bit of a right hamstring tightness.
He's gotten good.
He's gotten really good.
Yeah.
And PA, I will tell you what, he's very Jaden McDaniels-like, especially with his on-ball defense. He's got these long arms that can block any shots. His offensive game hasn't developed the way I think the Nuggets probably planned that it would, but he's so elite defensively that keeps him in games. So I think that's a name to definitely watch is are they going to have him on the defensive side of the ball? Because he's a guy that probably guards Ant. He's a guy that definitely matches up with Anthony Edwards. So I think there's a lot of question marks when it comes to this Denver team. And you mentioned Jonas Valanciunas. Over the last month, they've kind of tried to steer clear of him. They've really gone small when Jokic is out of the game. And now, granted, Jokic is playing 40-plus minutes. So they're trying to keep him in the game as much as possible. But when he's not, they don't love I don't think they love the minutes that Jonas Valanciunas is giving them. So I think there's a lot of question marks with this Denver team. And if you're the Timberwolves, you have to jump on this thing early. Like Saturday has to be a mindset game where you come in and you say, hey, we're showing you who we are, because we're not a 6 seed. That's not the type of team we are. We've had injuries and there's things that have led to that. We want to be favored in this series. And I think they have the opportunity and the potential to do that.
You know, one thing earlier on last segment, you were talking about the 3-point production of the Nuggets.
Yeah.
I don't want to say we got lucky. I mean, it was a 7-game series in a grind a couple of years ago, but you know, the issue with the Nuggets, I think in some respects has been Jamal Murray this time of year has just, whether it's an ankle, it's a knee thing, that he has never even been 75%, it feels like, for nearly half a decade with these Nuggets come playoff time. I think he looks about 100% right now. Like, I feel like we're going to get a better Jamal Murray this postseason than the Nuggets have gotten out of him the last several years, certainly more so than what we saw 2 years ago. And that health factor to the good, Peyton Watson, they'd like him and need him. But I think Jamal is scary to me in this series, specifically with those threes and his game-changing ability.
And I think Jamal knows that, too. I think Jamal Murray goes into this series saying, I have to play well or else we are going to lose. Like, he knows what Nikola Jokic is going to bring. He knows Aaron Gordon's going to bring, his X-factor type of mentality. Christian Brown's going to play hard. But Jamal Murray, he's kind of the question mark in the series. Can he be a 25-point-per-game scorer? He's shooting the ball at about 43.5% from three right now. So that 3-point shot has to go in early. It has to go in often. And if it doesn't, this Denver team's in trouble.
Cleveland is a heavy favorite to beat the Toronto Raptors in round one. Do you give Scotty Barnes and B.I. in that squad any chance?
I give him a series. I think it can be a series. I think this is the Raptors team that plays hard on the defensive side of the ball. They have guys that they can put in isolation basketball to make plays. Scotty, RJ, B.I., Mamukelashvili. That's a name we know and love. So I give
Emmanuel Quickly.
IQ. So that's a team that I think they can find their offensive side of the ball and they can flow. But I do think Cleveland's a better team.
The Knickerbockers are close to a minus 300 favorite, about a 3-1 favorite here against the Atlanta Hawks. Knicks or Hawks? Knicks with home court. Who do you like?
I like the Knicks in 5 or 6. I think it could be a series if Jalen Johnson really plays his tail off, but I think the Knicks have too much.
Houston, despite not having home court advantage, is a minus 730 favorite against the LA Lakers.
Wow.
Lakers are plus 523. Now, we know the story. Luke Kennard's running the point. LeBron really runs the point, but Kennard's listed as the point. You got Jackson Hayes got nicked up recently too.
He did.
So therefore, I mean, they just need guys to play minutes.
Yeah.
So down Doncic and Austin Reeves.
Yeah.
It does look abundantly obvious, like, hey, Houston's absolutely the right team in this series. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to go that far. I'm not going to grandstand and guarantee a Lakers victory in this series.
Yeah.
I've watched Houston enough the last couple of weeks, including Friday night, in a game. Again, they went all out at home to give themselves a chance to get home court advantage in the first round.
Yep.
And the Wolves, down 3 of their best players, beat them.
Yeah.
And Houston is not an inflow 3-point shooting team in a 3-point shooting league. Now, the Lakers ain't great from 3 either, down Reeves and Doncic. Dalton Knecht never plays. That's basically what Kennard used to do, hit threes, and he still can, but like he's a distributor and a rebounder now.
Yeah.
And he got LBJ. So, like, what do you think? I mean, do you think Houston's a cinch in this thing?
No, I think there's value there, and I'm not a sports bettor, so
plus money looks like.
Yeah, what do I know? But I think you're right, PA. Houston doesn't shoot the ball well from three. Now they got a lot of really good pieces, especially on the defensive side of the ball, that are going to make it difficult on the Lakers.
Feels like Şengün's going to chew somebody out.
Probably, but
do they even have a real guard? I mean, Amen, as good as he is, him being the primary ball handler, I wonder if that plays into their inability to get threes in transition and really set the ball up, and because that's just not his role.
Agreed. But see, like when they do run those cool plays where they get Amen to he can beat people off the dribble.
Yeah, he's athletic.
It's not supernatural. I mean, because he's not he's a tweener.
He is.
And you'll see some plays where they'll do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
He'll get to the key or the backup.
Reed Shepherd?
No, Shepard shoots threes. There are
Tari
three.
Eason?
No, there are three of the kids in the NBA, the point guard, Aaron.
Holiday.
Holiday, yeah. Okay, so he's the backup.
Yes, you're right.
He's a true point.
He is.
So, like, when one of those guys get into the key and then they swing it out to the wide open guy for three, I mean, you got to trust Jabari Smith Jr., Tari Eason. You got to cover up Reed Shepherd because he'll hit 10.
Yeah,
But outside of that, it's just not natural for him.
You're right. And I think shooting's a separator in this league. So if you look at a team that could possibly beat Houston, the Lakers do have some shooting. Luke Kennard, they got Jake LaRavia, they got LeBron, who's shooting the ball at a good level. So Marcus Smart can fill it up from three. So I don't love them, but I think that could be more of a series than people imagine.
Enjoy First Resource Bank Minneapolis today. Continue to do great work there. They and we are super proud of you, man, for the plays that you're making. And love you and Taylor. God bless you guys.
Love you, man.
Parker Fox at Parker Fox 24. When we return, Chris Finch, head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, joins us. T-Wolves Nuggets round one. Welcome back to the presentation. 20 minutes past the hour. It is Paul Allen, now joined by Chris Finch, head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Thanks to Second Harvest Heartland, toharvest.org, and Prize Picks. Chris, congratulations to you, the players, the staff, and everybody involved on making the postseason again. Well done.
I appreciate that, PA. Been a challenging season for a lot of reasons, but, interestingly enough, we finished with the exact same record as a year ago, and looking forward to regrouping here for the playoffs.
I don't have a lot of, if any, like season regurgitating to do, but I want to look forward with this Nugget series because it's super compelling. However, Friday night with those players you had down, and I know Ant came back, and it's on the road at Houston. Rockets are tooth and nail trying to get home court advantage. I loved how your guys played Friday night. What about you?
Oh, same. It was one of the most satisfying performances and victories of the season, no doubt about it. And played with really good rhythm, purpose, and, kind of shared the ball, moved the ball well. Everybody was able to benefit from a good flow. Durant was unstoppable, and so was Amen Thompson at times. And those guys had big games against us, but we battled them, and we made them miss enough shots down the stretch. And I thought we played smart down the stretch and closed the game well. And it was really good to see. And we got great performances from Kyle and TJ and, guys that, we're going to need to have ready and sharp and available for the playoffs.
And lastly here on this, you mentioned Kevin Durant. I mean, okay, KD's HOF, no doubt about it. But when you guys played Phoenix in the playoffs and he was a major factor for them with Booker, he wasn't nearly as impactful in that series a couple of years ago as he's been not only against you guys, but everybody in the league this year. I mean, the resurgence he's had with Thompson at the point and that team, it's been palpable, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I think, and he's notched a lot of records along the way this season too, which, a lot of them are tribute to his longevity, his excellence over time. I mean, and I think, he's happy there. He's, of course, obviously at the center of everything they're doing. He does, there's no kind of figuring out a pecking order like maybe there was in previous stops for him. And there's a lot on his shoulders, but he delivers every single night.
What, just in a nutshell, Coach, what do you guys do this week up to the Saturday opener from Denver?
Yeah, this is a great week. We kind of, today's an off day for the players. They'll come in, they'll get treatment, and they'll maybe get some individual work, very light work. Then staff, we have a bunch of meetings and kind of start mapping out game plans, and then we map out the week. And then tomorrow will be a very heavy scrimmage day. We'll play a lot, just try to get guys who have been out for a few games back up to speed, get our fitness up, get our competitiveness up. We'll do a few game plan install things. And then Wednesday, Thursday will be heavy technical days when it comes to the game plan, still with a good amount of live competition. That's the great thing about this week, is that we can really, kind of treat it like a training camp. You can add some new things. You can really get after it and play live. You get live practice reps against each other, which doesn't happen much during the season. And then, we'll fly out probably Thursday, I would imagine, to Denver, get there a little early so you can adjust to altitude and have a decent practice, a sharp but short practice on the Friday. With it being an early game on Saturday, it also serves as your shoot around and your fine tuning for the game plan, and then you're ready to go. So your staff is so smart, and we've talked about it, for many years now, and it's a well respected staff, at least as the league goes. So with this week, Prigioni, does he come in with a plan, and Elston has a plan, and then Nori does what he does, and then you guys kind of take all the ideas and put them together? Yeah, that's a little bit of how it works. So we've had different coaches working on different opponents based on who we might get, where it might shake out, and those processes have been ongoing now for a couple weeks. Looking at all of the games we've played, taking in the data from massive analytics reports, looking at the opponents, who they've struggled against, why they struggled against them, different, kind of comparative analysis things across the league. So they are very much deep dives. That all gets boiled down to, the most important 4 or 5 things on each side of the ball. And then they present those, in kind of a massive report. We do a lot of video edits, theme edits, things like this that we can share with the team, and but we don't overload them. We kind of pick out what we want to hit each day, and then but that's all planned out in advance, and we'll finalize what that looks like today.
Now, Adelman took over for Malone about a year ago, something like that. Have the Nuggets changed much since Adelman took over for Malone?
Well, they do a few things defensively. They play a little bit more zone. I think a little bit more aggressive in some of their coverages at times. Offensively, it's largely the same. I mean, they still play through Jokic. He's such an incredible hub of offense. I would say, maybe they accentuate some of their off-ball cutting a little bit more. But where I feel that they've, gotten a lot better is they've gotten deeper. I think as a team, the team we played a couple of years ago probably didn't have a lot of depth. I think right now they got way more depth than they had then, whether it be the backup, experienced Valanciunas at the 5, to some of their younger players like Watson and Strother, who were on the roster a few years ago, but inconsistent and at times not playing. Those guys are now significant pieces to what they're doing. Aaron Gordon has really improved his 3-point shooting, and that makes makes it a lot harder because before, you were able to kind of help heavy off of him. Those days are gone. And, so I just feel like they're as deep as they've ever been.
Spectacular answer. Thank you, Coach. Wolves and Nuggets. And familiarity can breed contempt, but it also can unveil trends and tendencies. And Chris, you've said, for weeks, you don't care who you get in the first round. Now it's the Nuggets. So just painting with a broad brush, what are some keys to getting by those guys?
Well, I mean, it always begins with, how you're going to attack Jokic or how you're going to try to, stop him and try to mitigate his damage. There's the different routes that you can take. We've employed different game plans at different times. But he's always going to be at the heart of it. And then he does such a great job of making all of his teammates better. Which ones do you feel like you can impact around him? That's certainly going to be one for us. I think irrespective of who we're playing, like finding a good and consistent offensive rhythm is really, really important. And that's like one of the things we got to really prepare ourselves for this week. With so many guys having been in and out over the last few weeks, we haven't had much of a rhythm. And even when we were healthy, we struggled to maintain it. So we know what that looks like for us. We've got to just try to get there. And then also, you have to do that also in the context of, what you think Denver's going to do defensively against you. So
right.
Those are the things I would think are the big keys for us right now.
Hey,
and then it's always about possession, rebounding the ball and taking care of it.
Chris Finch, 9 to noon, thanks to Second Harvest Heartland, 2harvest.org, and Prize Picks. With you guys, does the pressure of the postseason tighten things with players? And I mean tightening them up nicely, like faster passing action, high-end on-ball defense and awareness. What do you think about all that?
Yeah, 100. It has to. It does, and it has to. And we've been able to kind of answer that call, if you will, with a more focused, more physical defense presence. A lot of times our defense through the regular season will be maybe more bend but don't break. But we ramp that up or often ramp that up in the playoffs because of the appropriate amount of physicality that they allow. And then, if you don't make quick decisions in the playoffs offensively, you really get trouble because teams will sell out to stop your best players or employ, strategies against your best players that force you to kind of navigate, the strategies and tactics, and you have to do it fast, and again, we can anticipate what those might be. But when you get there, they're going to try to take the ball out of Ant's hands. They're going to try to, make it extremely hard for him and Julius to do their ISO game. And so our decision making and how we go about tackling those situations are going to be huge. What
here on a Monday for a Saturday and then a series after that, Rudy Gobert. What are some keys for Rudy's success in this series, but specifically if and or when he repeatedly ends up on Joker?
Yeah, you just got to fight him. You just got to fight him. He's a tough cover. You got to make everything as hard as possible for him and try to, wear him down over time if you can. Not get frustrated if he's having success against you. You just got to come back down and try to battle him again. I think that's one of the huge things that you have to do. You got to have a mental toughness when you play against these great players.
Ayo Dosunmu has become one of my favorite players since you guys traded for him. I mean, I just love his tenacity, his toughness, and his want to. He hasn't played in the postseason in 4 years. In what ways could he be the X factor for you guys in this series?
A lot of different ways. A versatile defender with good size and strength we can move him all around. Matchup wise, I think his ability to change ends quickly, score in the open floor or get easy baskets in the playoffs, which are always hard to come by. getting to the heart of the defense and, finishing at the rim, the things that he does really, really well. I think with him, it's just, he's got to just be, stay ready, stay true to himself, not try to do too much where he puts a lot of pressure on himself because it's, it is the playoffs and he hasn't been there, I think, since he's been a rookie. So, he'll have a lot larger role at that point in time, but, just kind of keep doing what he's doing and he'll be fine.
Now, Bones Highland, he gets the team. You guys play the team that drafted him, and he plays them for the first time in the postseason. So, how excited is he going to be for that? And do you have to make sure he stays on point and doesn't let his emotions overcome him?
Yeah, that's a big thing. I think when you are in these series, you're maintaining an emotional even keel is absolutely key, whether it's facing, adversity within the game or handling all the excitement of the game or, how you react between games, win or lose, or as the series develops with all these kind of ups and downs, you got to have an even approach. But you still need to play with all the passion that's inside you. He's an excitable player. He loves to use that to fuel him. He's a massive X factor. When we played out there, a couple weeks ago,
month and a half.
He was huge. Yeah, a month and a half ago, he was huge. It was no doubt about it. He came in and had 18 points off the bench. He sparked us when we needed it most, and we kind of caught fire after that. So he has that ability within him and that impact on our team.
Man, he scored 18 points in 16 minutes. And, he wasn't overly braggadocious, but you could tell that, especially after the game, because I was there with my kids and I saw him after the game, he was just super happy with the way things went. And Chris, that was a game, one of the coolest wins of the year, where you forced those guys into a 6 of 22 from 3. It's maybe with Cam Johnson and, maybe with Hardaway or whatever, maybe some new components. Maybe they'll shoot better from 3, but is getting Jokic to settle for threes a key to this series?
Well, the numbers will tell you that, when he's shooting a high volume of threes, they're not their best version. But he's had a up and down season from 3 this year, but we know that he always seems to make the big ones, and he's got that type of moxie. It used to be something that where he was a little bit more of a reluctant shooter. Now he's got to the point where I feel he'll take as many as the game needs him to take. They do have some really good shooting around him now, and I think that's something that they've been able to really augment their roster in the last off season. And so it's again, it's one of those pick your poisons. Do you want him to shoot him, or do you want others to benefit from him and shoot them? Mm-hmm. And in the playoffs, the level of shot contestedness, the speed at which guys are closed out, all that kind of stuff ramps up. But you still got to make people miss, and that's what defense comes down to. No matter what strategy or coverage or tactic you employ, it's how much can you bother the shot with a great shot contest.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And like Aaron Gordon, with what they're running to get him those open threes in the corner, and he's hitting them. I mean, yeah. So I'm with you on that for sure. But what I meant with like Jokic is that if he's shooting threes, then he's not passing or he's not getting fouled. And, the getting fouled part of the equation, specifically the way he tries to lure things in as a superstar, with whether it's Edwards or anybody else, and that would include you and the coaching staff, is you just got to stay calm, right? When you don't think calls are going your way. And, I'm obviously not taking a shot at anybody here, but that's super key.
Yeah, and it's 100%. It points to your mental toughness, your ability to have a next play mentality, and in the playoffs, you got to be able to, you got to be able to move on quickly, because the way the game is played, things can snowball on you in a hurry, And, admittedly, at times we've had our moments where we haven't been able to do that. But in the playoffs, we seem to be better there. So
now,
hopefully we can continue that.
McDaniel scored 20 on 12 shots in that win at Denver a month and a half ago. How much high-end attention do you expect him to get when Anthony and Julius are in the game?
Well, I mean, he's gotten to the point now, I think early on in his career in the playoffs, they would, just try to hide some of their weaker defenders on him, and he took full advantage, whether it be getting out in transition, going to the offensive glass, and making all the shots that came his way, or a large number of them. Right now, I think we saw last year through the playoffs that, teams are no longer doing that. But he remains huge for us. I mean, we're just better when he's getting great shots in the flow of the offense. That's been a kind of a barometer for us for years now. The great thing about him now is you can really direct the ball to him and he can deliver. And that's a huge growth. It's a huge growth for him in his offensive profile.
Last one, man. Thank you. You guys, under your leadership, with the coaching staff, obviously, and Tim Connolly, you for most of it, you guys have made the postseason 5 consecutive years. I mean, that's absolutely fantastic. Just giving the fan base and the team a chance. And I know you've been to the Western Conference Finals 2 consecutive years. That's awesome. But making the postseason 5 consecutive years, what does that mean to you?
I appreciate that. It's, we don't take it for granted. It means a lot. It really does. It means that, we're just trying to lay a foundation where we expect to be here. But yet we got to put the work in the Western Conference, that seemingly gets harder and harder. I think it's another step, of consistency, which is what we're trying to strive for. We might have inconsistencies at times throughout the season, but the way the league is right now, it's so open. And, there's been 7 champions in 7 years. You just got to give yourself as many chances, to do it, make a run. And it's matchup driven from here on out, as we know. And it's a tough road. There's no doubt about it. But just being there and surviving some of the adversity that we did this season, whether it be injuries or other things, then, we're really excited to be here and ready to go. We got a chance to relaunch ourselves, regroup a little bit. And I said this all last week. I don't know if you heard any of my media, but, nobody needed the certainty of knowing where they were going to be more than us. The certainty of being locked in, and even if we didn't know who we were going to play, we could actually take care of some things in our own house that we needed to desperately to take care of. So now it's up to us to take that and put it to good use and take full advantage of that break that we got.
Chris, you're fantastic, and we are extremely grateful for your weekly inclusion. We look forward to our next conversation, and have a wonderful week. Go out there and tear it up, okay?
All right, PA, appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Chris Finch, head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, weekly 9 to noon, courtesy of Second Harvest Heartland, 2harvest.org, and Prize Pick. Saturday, 2:30, Wolves at Denver to begin round 1 of that NBA playoff series. It is post time for the post game coming up around the corner on KFAN.
What up, final segment, 9 to noon. Thank you for tuning in with us on a Monday, and it is time for the post game, 9 to noon, and what a show it was. And I try to assume that all of you watched or listened to every single minute of the show, but just in case you missed it, it was a Monday, and we kicked things off with the Monday mock.
The Monday mock has us to pick number 18, which is the Minnesota Vikings.
Ooh.
There are no trades in the Monday mock. There have been revisions and alterations and corrections and vibe seeking. But here's how the Monday mock's going to go today.
With a right to change it.
I'm going to rattle off the teams and the names, and we're going to move on with our lives. Why? Because there's ample time the rest of the week to break down what has happened and why. And I don't feel like doing it right now. So 18, Minnesota Vikings. Safety Dylan Thieneman, Oregon.
Ooh. That was to kick off the Monday Mock. And, of course, stay tuned not just tomorrow, but every subsequent edition of 9 to Noon, as there will be myriad changes to the Monday Mock, all leading you up to the Thursday NFL Draft as the Vikings pick 18th overall. Now, later in the hour, PA posed a question, kind of a Talker Tuesday, yet on a Monday, and maybe we do a...
Just quickly, Arvell Reese goes to 2, Reuben Bain Jr. goes to Washington, Caleb Downs goes to Miami, Avion Terrell goes to Dallas at 12, Kenyon Sadiq goes to the Ravens at 14, and Jordan Tyson, after all that hamstring related stuff we uncovered last week, he goes down to 20 to Dallas.
Wait a minute, the Ravens replace Isaiah Likely with Kenyon Sadiq.
Yeah, I mean it's
my goodness.
Well, I had it's
the Monday Mock is sweet,
but and I hate it. It's bad wide receiver draft.
Yeah,
so therefore I'm like Mekhi Lemon, USC wide receiver. So, but I needed to move him because then I'm like, what am I doing here? I mean, they lost at least 2 tight ends. And Lamar inside the 20 and inside the 10 is so reliant on his tight ends, and they still have Andrews. So this feels like the Kenyon Sadiq spot. But I got about 5-6 changes.
No, I dig that. Stay tuned for more as we work our way through the totality of the first round. And you can hear the first mock draft that the host has ever done. He's never been more excited about it on a Monday Mock.
It's a lot harder than I thought.
It is difficult, absolutely. That's why they pay Widow's Peak the big bucks to tantalize us with 50 versions of it leading up to the draft. Later in the hour, PA posed a question. Hey, Wild and Wolves, okay? Wild at Dallas, start date to be determined, but you just heard it from the head coach in conversation throughout the show. Parker Fox in studio, part of the postgame, that the Wolves will be in Denver Saturday, 2:30 p.m., the tip-off, Game 1, first round of the NBA playoff series, Wolves and Nuggets. Better chance to advance and why, Wolves or Wild? We set up some talkbacks. Here's one or two.
I think the Wild move on, no question. We've really gotten the top talent to compete with teams like Dallas and Colorado. But I think what we've done on the back end is make sure that we got the bruisers to back it up. Mr. Jamie Benn doesn't get to get under the skin of the Wild anymore. They sit him back down, and they set the tone for the series. It's going to be black and blue, but the Wild are going to move on, tried and true. Go Wild.
I like the rhyming.
Love it.
It's going to get black and blue. Bottom 6, though. We had Pat Micheletti in studio, not just handling Frozen 4 duties for Westwood 1, but good conversation in relation to the Minnesota Wild and Dallas Stars. Now, Max Plant, he's a Hobie Baker Award winner, and he's a UMD Bulldog, and he joined PA during the 10 a.m. hour. I thought this was a cool conversation in relation to his grandfather.
It is the best, and
we're gonna try a different audio clip here.
Rory went back-to-back in the mask.
And we're going to try a third one. Wow, what a post game.
There's grandfather Bruce Plant, Max's grandfather, all right? He coached Hermantown for 28 years and won 3 state titles. So has Grandpa ever screamed at you to, pick up your feet, Max, or some coaching stuff like that?
His big thing on me is to shoot the dang puck. He always, after every game, he'll text me if I didn't shoot enough. So he likes when I score goals. My dad might be a little bit the other way around. He kind of wants me to be a passer. I'm also scoring goals too, but Grandpa's always talking about all the monies and the goal scoring. So if I'm not scoring, he's not as happy.
When do you hope to play for the Detroit Red Wings, the team that drafted you in the second round?
If hopefully I can have a good year next year, and then at the end of the year go right in, or the spring after that have a good training camp, and after that would be my dream come true. So
that's Max Plant, Hobie Baker Award winner, UMD Bulldogs, sophomore for the Bulldogs, and between him and Oliver Miller at 9 to Noon, kind of becoming your future of the NHL leader, aren't we?
Yeah, I think it's Oliver Moore.
Oliver Moore.
No, I've made that mistake 100 times trying to make Totino Grace's finest like 6'11", 340 pounds. But it's great to have those kids in the Covenant, specifically as they move forward to their NHL careers. Ollie's already there for the Blackhawks, even though he's hurt. But if you missed that interview, that would be my podcasting suggestion today, is when you go to 9 to Noon on demand, the Paul Allen Show on demand at KFAN.com. That's the one I would find. Very touching, some very touching family-related things shared by Max Plant. It'll be available shortly after the show.
Indeed, between that and then the segment that just preceded this, head coach Chris Finch, Minnesota Timberwolves, you asked him a couple questions, PA, in terms specifically what's different with the Nuggets with David Adelman in charge. And then it was the question you asked him immediately after that in relation to not caring who they get in the first round. I thought it was a really good chat with Chris Finch. And as we wrap up the post game, I would just encourage you to find, whether it's Max Plant, it's Chris Finch, a couple of things to put in your ears on a Monday morning.
That's 9 to noon. Thank you very much for the good times. For the producer, Eric Nordquist, I'm Paul Allen. May God bless you and all of your families, and thank you for listening to KFAN, if and or when you do. And the program is around the corner on KFAN. Have a great day. Bye.
Making a way when you can.
Temporary layoff.
Y'all don't know football.
Easy credit rip-offs. Good times.
Scratching and surviving.
Good times. Living in a joyride. Good times.
9 to noon.
Lucky we got 'em. Good times.
If it's good news or money, leave a message.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.